When the alien fleet appeared above Earth, the sky filled with lights that did not belong to stars. At first, people thought it was an attack, and militaries across the world prepared for the worst, but no weapons were fired. The ships simply hovered in silence, massive shadows blotting out the night. Days later, a message was received, not in words, but in clear intent. The aliens wanted to study humans. They promised no war, only observation. To the public, it sounded harmless, but leaders felt a quiet unease. Why would a species so advanced travel across the galaxy only to watch? Meetings were held in hidden rooms. Scientists argued with generals, and fear mixed with curiosity. In the end, Earth agreed, for saying no seemed impossible. Yet not everyone accepted the idea of being treated like an experiment. A hidden plan was formed by a small group of human thinkers and strategists. If aliens were going to study mankind, then mankind would study them as well. No one said it aloud, but the thought spread like fire. Knowledge could be a weapon, and humans had survived history by turning observation into survival. The game had begun, though neither side admitted it. The aliens began their experiments with a cold precision that unsettled even the calmest minds on Earth. They did not chain humans or harm them directly, but their presence was everywhere in hospitals, in schools, in crowded cities, watching, recording, measuring every reaction. They tested how humans handled stress, how they bonded with strangers, how they adapted when pushed into situations of fear or confusion. Small events that seemed random were, in truth, carefully staged scenarios created by alien technology, designed to pull out hidden instincts. Yet while the aliens believed they were the hunters of knowledge, humanity had already turned the tables in silence. Engineers mapped the patterns of alien drones, soldiers tracked their patrol routes, and hackers slipped into faint signals that leaked from their ships. Every camera lens that turned toward a human face was, in return, studied by human eyes. Scientists on Earth noticed that the aliens were not only watching, but learning slower than expected, as if their understanding was limited by rules they could not escape. Patterns emerged, and humans began building profiles of their visitors: how they thought, how they organized, how they underestimated. To the aliens, humanity was an unpredictable puzzle. To humans, the aliens were becoming an open book, their secrets unfolding piece by piece. What the aliens saw as experiments, humans saw as opportunities. Every test meant more data, every observation a chance to turn the watchers into the watched. And quietly, beneath the surface of ordinary life, Earth was preparing for the moment when the balance would shift. The aliens believed they were in control, but with each experiment, they revealed more of themselves than they realized, and humanity was listening more carefully than ever before. Weeks turned into months, and the aliens grew restless as their experiments failed to give the answers they expected. Humans did not behave like the species they had studied before. Instead of breaking under stress, they adapted. Instead of showing fear in the unknown, they grew curious. Instead of fighting against each other, they found strange ways to unite. The aliens increased the intensity of their tests, creating situations where humans should have collapsed. Yet the opposite happened. Ordinary people found strength in chaos, working together in ways the aliens could not predict. Frustration grew in the alien ranks, though they never admitted it openly. On Earth, however, the quiet network of scientists and strategists studying the aliens began to notice something critical. The invaders were not as perfect as they seemed. Their technology was advanced, but it followed rigid patterns. Their behavior was logical, but limited. They underestimated creativity, underestimated how humans turn mistakes into solutions. The turning point came when a staged alien experiment meant to test human panic during a power outage in a major city ended with humans restoring control faster than the aliens themselves could react. For the first time, the observers realized they were being outpaced by their own subjects. Reports spread through their fleet that humans were not fitting the models, that their resilience had no clear explanation. To the aliens, it was a warning. To humanity, it was confirmation. The Watchers were not untouchable. They could be studied, outthought, and eventually outmatched. Quietly, Earth's hidden network prepared for the next step, no longer content with defense. The balance of power was shifting, and though the aliens still believed themselves superior, they were already standing on uncertain ground. The game was no longer equal. It was turning against them. The night of the revelation came without warning. The aliens had prepared another experiment, one they believed would finally break human unpredictability. Entire districts were cut off from power, communication was blocked, and alien drones filled the skies, watching how humanity would collapse in fear. But instead of chaos, something else happened. Within minutes, hidden networks of human operatives activated. Signals the aliens thought were invisible were hijacked, their drones redirected, and their communication lines scrambled. The observers who once controlled every variable suddenly found themselves trapped inside their own test. In their command ships, alarms echoed as systems failed without explanation. Files they had guarded for centuries appeared on their screens, opened by codes they had never seen before. Then, through the very channels they used to monitor Earth, a voice spoke not alien, but human, steady and clear. "We have seen enough. Now it is your turn to be studied." Silence followed, heavy and suffocating. The aliens realized the terrible truth. While they had been watching, humans had been learning. Every weakness, every routine, every blind spot had been recorded and turned against them. Their superior technology had become a mirror, showing them how vulnerable they truly were. The experiment they thought was theirs had been stolen without them noticing, and now they were the subjects. In that moment, the illusion of control shattered. Fear rippled through their fleet, not because of human weapons, but because of human minds. The predators in orbit finally understood they had awakened something they could not predict, something that would not be contained. Humanity had played the role of prey long enough, and now the hunters found themselves standing in cages they had built for others. The balance of power was no longer hidden. It was exposed. The lesson came not with explosions or battles, but with silence. The alien fleet, once proud and unshaken, now drifted in Earth's orbit with hesitation. They had arrived as scientists, believing themselves superior, but they were leaving as students of a species they could not understand. Humanity had shown them something they had never witnessed before, not advanced weapons or hidden technology, but the ability to learn faster than any algorithm, to adapt beyond any prediction, and to turn weakness into strength. For the aliens, this was more terrifying than war. In their records, countless civilizations had fallen into neat categories, predictable patterns, and simple outcomes. But humans did not fit. They had stared into every experiment, and instead of being defined by it, they had turned it inside out, making the watchers the observed. On Earth, leaders did not announce victory, because there had been no battle to win. Instead, there was a quiet understanding. They had sent a message far stronger than missiles or fleets. Humanity would not be a subject to anyone's study. To tamper with mankind was to risk being unraveled piece by piece until nothing remained hidden. The aliens finally withdrew, their ships vanishing into the cold void, carrying with them the knowledge that Earth was not a laboratory but a warning. And across the world, people carried a new certainty. The galaxy might return one day, but never with the same arrogance, because now it was known humans were not just survivors. They were observers, hunters of truth, and no one who came to study them would ever leave unchanged. The lesson was clear: in the game of knowledge, humanity never plays prey for long.